Thank you for joining me for a chair yoga class. Today, we are going to begin with the peace mudra and practice with resistance bands. I'm going to remind us how we created this mudra. We started with an open palm and the thumb that rests across, fingers that wrap around, and then we notice the flat part of the base of our knuckles, and we can bring the other four fingers right across. This gives us an opportunity to use this free thumb and join it to the index finger. So we end up with the shape of a heart. Let's see. So my hands have the shape of a heart and they're pointing to you and your hands to each other. As we practice and got to know this mudra, we want to find it on the other side. So the idea is to try it with the other hand. I want to place the thumb in my palm and wrap the fingers around and bring the other four fingers across the base of the knuckles. And then here we are, the tip of the finger, index finger to the tip of the thumb. And so this heart-shaped mudra is the mudra for peace, Shankha Mudra, Shankha. So let's start with this as we typically begin pointing our mind to present moment. And as you drop your gaze and find this beautiful heart-shaped mudra, think of all the things that your hands do in this world and what hands represent, unique to each person, this willingness to give and receive, embrace, and the list goes on. Notice how it settles on your energy body, the quieting effect that it has, and the uplifting effect that it has as well. We'll continue to find these uplifting, energizing now ways in our practice. Let us begin. So if you will walk your feet a little bit wide, lace your fingers, and then turn the palms, reaching the arms down, broadening the collarbones, firming the legs, you'll find that your back body turns on and your core wakes up. Sending the arms forward, come into a little bit of cat pose. Keeping your gaze low, lift the arms, come to neutral spine, lift the ribs, and while the legs are firm, then take the arms wide. Once they've made it to that T, then lift your gaze, turn the fingertips back and down, and open your heart. Just feel the opening of the front body. We're going to do it again. Bring the hands together. Think about the lacing pattern that you had and change, which is the thumb on top. And as we were reaching down, so we drop the shoulder blades, lengthen the sides of the neck, feel the effect of our feet on the ground, all of this. And then we're ready. We're drawing navel to the spine. Here comes cat pose. And then lifting the arms, inhaling, lifting the rib cage. Continuing the inhale as we open up, rotate back, and open to what's ahead. Keeping this open set of shoulders, take the arms behind you, catch hold the chair, catch hold nice and low, and then lean in a little bit. We won't get far when we're holding on really low, but it will tap into some traction for a certain path of ear to the shoulder, and hopefully it feels good. From here, we're going to lift the toes, spread them wide, lift the front of the feet, anchor the heels, and just feel the core turn on. I'm always thinking in these terms of lines of energy and how can we change the physical practice so that we have great variety. When you're ready for change, rest your feet. Let your hands push down instead. Lift your heels instead and allow your toes to pull back and just feel what is different. What is different? We'll stay here for another breath. Give it some time. And then we're moving on. All good. Sending your hands ahead, we're going to come into a hip hinge and then unhinging shoulder retraction. We'll do these movements as we stand, and in always what we do standing, we can practice sitting. So you're always welcome to return to your seat and find following along with simple improvised means. Let's continue. We're going to use our small loop now, using resistance bands for today. We're going to start with our small loop. And we'll scoot over to one side so that what we have here is one sitting bone on and the other leg extended. Very nice. From this position, with one hand anchoring at the opposite shoulder, the arm opposite is going to counterbalance what is happening in that leg. And we could have done this sitting with symmetry, sitting with ease, but it just changes the lines of energy. So the arm to the side is going to create the movement. I want to reach forward and then up, forward and out to the side. And the entire time, the other hand is anchoring. I don't need to do any gripping necessarily, but it tricks the arm that is reaching into really reaching. And so it creates a little shift deep in the shoulder joint. Let's try that again. And then we're adding on. So now I'm going to take that arm out to the side, and this very simple extension, this reach, is going to be a circular pattern. Simple to do, and it's all about what happens when the arm is not just hanging out, but actively reaching, and then reverse. So it's a wonderful way to add something unusual to our warm-up and to give our limbs something slightly different. Moving on. I want to swing the arms over to the other side. And now this arm that was moving has a different movement. It's going to turn palm down, and we're going to draw. Wonderful. So while we get a few repetitions of this movement in that engages the back of the shoulder and the tricep and pins the shoulder blade onto the rib cage, just know that we'll come back and use this in our warrior two. Hold this position, and we'll change what the long leg is doing. I want to lift the toes, turn the foot out, and feel as if I get to draw the kneecap and add more lengthening to the inner thigh. From this position, I'm going to lengthen to one side and slowly come back. And we want to play with this over time, the dynamic of what happens in the ankle, in the heel, the calf, and then some. And so while you stay in this upright position, focus on the ankle. Drop the sole of the foot, but draw the toes back towards you. Just notice how that is very different. It wakes up the top of the foot. We'll stay here one more breath. We'll take the elbow that is bent and drop it down and then up. So it's sort of like, how do we say, patting your tummy and chewing gum at the same time, just having two different things to do. I have my toes drawn back, the sole of the foot anchored, and the wing lifting and lowering, and it gives me something very different in a warm-up that gets the job done. Let's return. And let's get all of that done on the other side. So I'm going to slide over. And the idea with one sitting bone on is that I am anchoring this sole of the foot. The opposite hand gets the chance to just reach now, just reach, and then practice traveling forward and up and forward and out to the side. And while we're there, it is a little bit of a challenge to stay in this upright position. It might be easier to lean. So that's part of what we're gaining, this work through the core to just engage side muscles of the body, rib cage, and stay upright. Here we go, circling. This subtle circle, it can be small, it can be big, but the arm that is reaching is doing exactly that. It's reaching, not hanging out, and then in the reverse, in the reverse. Very nice. Looking good, everyone. All right, from here, we're gonna just swing on over. And that arm that was moving is gonna still be the mover. We're gonna turn the palm down and create this tugging action. Whenever we do something asymmetrically, we have an opportunity to understand ourselves a little bit more, to just notice, what is it like on this side? Do I need to do something different that is protective? Or what do I notice about freedom of movement, right? And then stopping here, lifting the toes, turning that foot out, drawing the sole of the foot now to the floor and keeping the toes up. So I want to lengthen and return. And for me, it does feel different on this side, and it has everything to do with an old shoulder injury that I just always have to think about. And so that is why this is so great. It helps keep both sides strong. In this upright position, dropping the elbow and lifting the elbow. Keep the toes drawn back. And just feel how this movement begins to create a shift in the long arm shoulder across the chest. Let's do that one more time. And then release. Wonderful. We're going to keep alternating sides, and this time we're going to explore something different. So if you were to sit so that you have one sitting bone on, I want to instead drop the foot back. And I'll turn to the side just to show that what it seems like is just this. I want to bend in my knee and slide my foot back and end up with the toes really exaggerating this high heel kind of position, right? So if that is uncomfortable for any reason, please return to this position. All right, here we go. So the leg that is behind me needs the opposite arm to be the one that travels forward. And again, we're going to come into a little bit of a fold. We're going to try this 2 more times and then add on. So the leg back behind is really in charge of this place. We're going to swing both arms forward. Those of you who have a loop can just simply slide your hands in. You don't have to grip, but please take care of yourself. Here we are to the side, to the outer knee, and then back. So I want to reach past the knee and slightly behind me. And again, the arm work is the filler. The underlying work is what's happening in the core. Let's do that one more time. Beautiful. And then release. As you come to center, before we get to the other side, turn your palm up, draw the elbows back, create a little bit of a tug, and broaden the collarbones. Keep firming the legs and just think about how your breath makes the difference in this light tug. So when we tug, we engage the back body, we pin the shoulder blade onto the rib cage, but we are strengthening these elongated muscle fibers across the front of the chest, which counters a lot of work that we do all day long in front of us. All right, we're going to change this now. We're going to turn the palms so they face each other and think about how the elbows are pinned in and how we can swing the arms out. So all of a sudden, we have something very different that's going on here in the front of the shoulders. So good for us. We'll try this with one more change. We're going to turn the palms down. And this time, the work changes for where the elbows are. I just simply want to slide everything away from the midline. So that is different. We'll come back to that as well. And release. Let's get all of the work on the other side. I want to slide over. And I'm going to plant my toes back behind. That knee slides underneath its hip. And again, it looks like this from the side, right? And so the option is to take the leg to the side if that is not comfortable for any reason. And then here we are, the opposite hand gets to this extension while we have a hip hinging. Just a few of these. Right? The way that we unfold against gravity keeps everything in our back body strong. Take the time, slide your hands in, hold on to it shoulder width if you have a flat band. And as you come into this hip hinge, We're going to swing the arms to one side and then back. It doesn't matter how your hands are in it, really and truly, but you do want to have a little bit of a tug, right? This light set of actions. Let's try that one more time. That was looking good, everyone. So we're going to use this idea now. Inhale, come upright with our hands in this loop to come to standing. And at first, we're going to just keep our feet comfortably wide, take the arms somewhat up, and come into this hinge. When you're ready to come out of the chair, we're going to pause nice and low and do this filler, right? Lowering the arms, lifting the arms, lowering and lifting the arms. Looking good, everyone. As you lift this next time, keep it slow and controlled. Take your time coming up. Open any amount. Very nice. And draw the feet in. Thank you all for your presence, this beautiful energy as we finish. Namaste, everyone.